Hi, it's Mr. Frank, and welcome to Science Saturdays. In my regular job as a teacher, it's been very challenging over the last year or so. We started with a stay-at-home order, we transitioned to online learning, and we ended the school year without even returning to school. Since that time, we have all had to adjust to a new normal. It has been confusing, stressful, and scary for many of us. We even had to cancel our stage shows. With the 2020 COVID-19 global pandemic, we have seen many changes to everyday life. You may have known someone who got very sick, and you may even have lost someone. If that has happened to you, we at Science Saturdays are very sorry. However, there is hope. Several vaccines have been developed and delivered. These vaccines give us a promise that we can beat this pandemic. With all of the news and social media providing so much information about COVID-19, we at Science Saturdays wanted to dedicate a show to the science of viruses, immunity, healthy practices, and vaccines. There is amazing science that we will show you that we hope can help you learn, teach, and have some peace in these very strange times. So now, on with the show. Science Gone Viral.
Science Saturday, why it's a lovely day to try some science and say, why does it happen that way? Ask some questions, get some answers, see some science, hear some laughter. You might even find yourself thinking and learning and laughing. Oh, Science Saturday, why it's a lovely day to try some science and say, why does it happen that way? Why does it happen that way? Why does it happen that way? What are we studying for science today?
Hey everybody, I'm Fultzy with your word of the day. And since we're studying viruses, immunity, health practices, and vaccines, our word is one of our main topics. Immunity! Immunity is the ability of an organism to resist an infection. Now that you've heard this word, you will hear it throughout the show. It's actually how immunity works in the body. White blood cells are trained to watch out for things that cause infection, and when they recognize them, they attack! Today's show will be told through various stories that you may recognize as well. Let's go to our storyteller, Mrs. Jones, who is also a science teacher.
Hello, young scientists. My name is Mrs. Jones, and today I'm going to tell you some science tales that will ignite your imagination, transport you to microscopic places, and shore up your scientific understanding of viruses and immunity. Today's collection is Science Gone Viral, the sickest tales. Our first story today is the immune system, the virus, and the host. Once upon a time, there was a disease-causing agent that could not be seen with the human eye, a virus. This virus was nothing on its own and could not replicate until it stepped inside its host. Once the magical door was opened into this new world, the host, the virus was free to multiply to its heart's content. Only one thing could stop it, the host's immune system.
Hey, wait just a minute there, storyteller. Disease-causing agent. In this segment 1, we're going to get a little more up close and personal with these microscopic organisms called viruses. A virus is a disease-causing agent that's too tiny to be seen by just an ordinary microscope. It might be a living organism or a protein molecule, and it can only multiply when inside the cell of the organism. Did you know that some of these viruses are enveloped and some are non-enveloped? What does that even mean? Well, an enveloped virus is wrapped up or cloaked. Hey! Storyteller, this reminds me of another story!
Now we turn to the wizardry of viruses with Harry Virus and the Enveloped Clone. There was once an orphaned virus named Harry who yearned to be accepted into a host organism. He didn't know it, but he had the magical skill of an invisibility cloak. He was enveloped, which means he could disguise himself from the host immune system. Let us now go into Fulsey's lab, where we can see how these enveloped viruses work.
Okay, so let's take a look at the differences between enveloped versus non-enveloped viruses here using these materials: aluminum foil, butter, and M&Ms. We're gonna make 2 models using these materials. My first model, my non-enveloped virus, it's solely made of the aluminum foil and it's covered in these M&Ms, whereas the enveloped virus starts with that aluminum ball but gets covered in this butter layer and then topped with my M&Ms. You see, this butter layer acts like that invisibility cloak for the virus. Which kind of virus, enveloped or non-enveloped, is COVID-19? I hope you're saying it's an enveloped virus. Now, we said SARS-CoV-2 is an enveloped virus. It has a lipid bilayer envelope that covers the virus. Remember the butter from earlier? So here, I have a model of SARS-CoV-2, or what we know as COVID-19. And the lipid bilayer, that's represented here with the modeling clay. Now, some other important features of this virus are these spike proteins. Do you see them here? These spike proteins? They're represented in red. The envelope proteins are represented in yellow. And then we also have these membrane proteins that are represented in orange. Now, one of the things that a virus wants to do inside the host is replicate, replicate, replicate! That means make more and more and more! It also wants to survive! Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive! A virus will mutate, which means it will change slightly in order to stay alive. We're going to demonstrate this with M&Ms in this box. All of the M&Ms have been placed, so none of the M's are showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this box up and down just one time, and this is going to represent one mutation of the virus. Then I'm going to take a look and I'm going to replace any of the M&Ms that are showing their M. Are you ready? Here's mutation 1. Let's see. So now we have M&Ms whose M's are showing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out any of the M's that are showing and I'm going to replace them with red ones. 44 M&Ms. Okay, let's see how many get flipped this time. Are you ready? Here's mutation number 2. All right. And again, I see so many more that have been flipped over. Now you can take a look and see how quickly our original M&Ms became red. In just 2 shakes, our box has been full of mutations instead of the original virus. Don't forget about this experiment because in segment 3, we will be discussing the things we can do to slow this process down. Achoo!
Ah, gross! I've got some sneeze particles from segment 1 on my segment 2. Fulsey should use a tissue or her elbow the next time. In any case, I'm Mr. Frank and welcome to segment 2, where we will cover the body's immune response. There are 2 ways our body has an immune response: innate and adaptive. Our storyteller will set the scene for the innate immune response system. Storyteller?
Hello again. One of your body's immune responses is innate, which in this way means built in. So let me tell you the story of the 3 little innate immunity barriers. Once upon a time, there was a host, and this host was very tempting to viruses and other pathogens. It was a good place to find shelter, to feed, and to replicate. So the host developed 3 little innate immunity barriers: skin, mucus membranes, and cell enzymes. The first barrier is skin. It is flexible and it is able to keep pathogens out by building a wall of cells. The second barrier is the mucous membrane, and it can do 2 things. It can trap any pathogens that want to enter the host and sometimes eliminate pathogen cells that want to enter by identifying them and breaking them down. The third barrier is cell enzymes. This barrier has the ability to recognize foreign invaders, surround them, and destroy them before they attack healthy cells of the host. When a pathogen comes around, it approaches each of these barriers and says, "Little innate immunity barrier, little innate immunity barrier, let me in." But often these barriers are very resistant and they say, "Not by the barrier of my skinny skin." Or sometimes they're snotty snot. Or sometimes they're antimicrobial peptides. This story is confusing. Let's check in with Mr. Frank, who will help explain things a little better. I hope.
Hello! What a cute story! Well, as I said before, one of the ways the body puts up a barrier to foreign invaders is innate, or built in. The 3 little innate immune barriers are skin, the mucous membrane, and cell enzymes. They all automatically do a pretty good job of keeping out what we don't want in the body. My friend Julia is going to help explain how one of these innate immune barriers, skin, works to protect your body. And she is going to do so by breaking boards with her bare hands. Just watch.
Hi, my name is Julia, and I'm here to demonstrate how the first innate immunity barrier, your skin, is like this board. You see, people put up boards in between studs to create walls and to give your home structure, and provide a barrier to the outside. Your body grows skin to do much the same thing. Your skin keeps out pathogens that are supposed to stay on the outside of you, like viruses, bacteria, and molds. It also keeps in all of the things that are supposed to stay in, like blood, muscle, and organs. So, the skin is there to keep your body healthy and running like it should. I also happen to be a black belt in Taekwondo, so I'm going to demonstrate this concept by trying to break through 3 samples of wood. The first is a regular, healthy piece of wood. This one is like your healthy skin. Trying to break through is challenging, and I shouldn't be able to do it with a simple punch. Ow! In this second piece, I have made a cut. This is like your healthy skin getting a cut or abrasion from an accident. It's not as strong, and it should be easier to break through. Ouch. See? That was a little easier for me to break through with a cut. Much in the same way, a virus or bacteria can get into your body if you have a cut in your skin. This is why it's important to clean your cuts and apply a bandage when you get a cut. This third board is damaged with a drill, a rasp, and fire. This represents skin that is diseased or damaged in some other way. Let's strike it. See, very easy to break through. Some people have damaged or weakened skin from burns, infections, or other diseases, and that makes it a lot easier for a virus or other pathogen to get in. There are other devices in my barn that can help you understand 2 more of our innate immune responses: mucous membranes and cell enzymes. Do you see this fly paper? Flies are attracted to it, then they stick to it. Your mucous membrane works the same way. The snot you have in your nose is sticky, right? Lots of things stick to it. Dust, pollen, molds, viruses, bacteria. These particles do not need to be in your body, so the snot or mucus catches them. Then, when you sneeze or blow your nose, they are expelled from your body. Another device I have here is a bug zapper. When a mosquito or other insect flies toward the light or pheromones emitted from this device, it gets an electric shock that disintegrates it. If a virus or other pathogen gets into your body's bloodstream, your white blood cells release cytokines that tell other cells in your body to search for and attack any invaders, and those invaders get zapped. Your skin, mucus, and cells are all part of the innate immune system that automatically protect your body against pathogens. However, your body also has an adaptive immune system that learns how to fight off pathogens. When new ones come along, your cells fight them. During this process, you may feel achy or have a fever or swelling, but that is your body's adaptive immune system learning how to fight off these invaders. After your cells are done with the fight, it develops antibodies and keeps tiny particles from the cells that were attacking your body. Much like a warrior, your cells wear these tiny particles on their surface so they are ready to recognize and attack the pathogens if they ever enter your body again. Actually, I could have punched through the first one very easily too. See?
Wow, what an exciting life our immune response has. Detect, deflect, destroy. That's right. Your body's adaptive immune response will adapt to pathogens that are getting in so that once you have come into contact with a pathogen, you won't likely get infected again. Your white blood cells are constantly on the lookout, and when they spot something that doesn't belong, they activate B cells, which will replicate and release antibodies specifically designed to attach and to neutralize those invaders. Pretty amazing. So, we've talked about how the body's innate immune response automatically works to prevent infection and how the body's adaptive immune response adapts to always be ready to fight old viruses and even new viruses and bacteria in the body. But what can we do to keep out these potentially infectious pathogens? Fulci has some tips that can help, that will, Achoo! Let me find a tissue while our storyteller joins us once again.
Excuse me. Someone needs to learn to use a tissue when they sneeze. Gather closely, boys and girls. This is a fantastical story about a girl with a key who enters a special world through a keyhole and falls into a deep rabbit hole. Do you know it? Yes, of course. It is the story of Fulci in Science Land. We find Fulci walking through a deep wood, approaching a house where there seems to be a party going on. As Fulci approaches the door, there's a small sign that reads, "Welcome, please log in." Let's join Fulci now.
Log in? Why, that's very curious indeed. Shouldn't say, come in?
Oh, do not come in. Please log in.
Well, all right. If you insist. Wait, what is the password?
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Excuse me?
It's the riddle. The answer to the riddle is the password.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Oh, I know. Because it can produce a few notes.
But...
Oh, no, you tricked me into answering the riddle.
But...
So, produce a few notes.
All right. 3 simple tools. 3 simple tools.
Perfect. See? I mean what I say.
Or, you say what you mean.
Either way, welcome to my humble chat. What is your name, Fulci?
My name is... Wait a minute. You already know my name.
Oh, my lands. A minute? I almost forgot what time it is.
Why, it's...
Oh, very merry Science Saturdays to you.
To me?
To you. A very merry Science Saturdays to you.
To me?
To you. A very merry Science Saturdays to you.
Oh, wait a second. Mr. Frank, you aren't feeling too well, are you? Let me see. Let me take a look at those hands. Use the black light, Mr. Frank. Oh, Oh dear! Oh no, your hands are filthy! You should always wash your hands to prevent the spread of infection.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pussy. You're right. Do you have any more information about how to do that?
Yes. Let's explore more fully how to prevent infection and slow down the spread. Do you remember back in segment 1? We used the M&Ms and the red M&Ms to demonstrate the mutations of a virus. Well, there are things we can do to try to slow down the spread and these mutations, which brings us to our next story.
And now the story of the 3 simple tools.
3 simple tools.
Oh, it's a song.
3 simple tools. 3 simple tools. See how they work. See how they work. They all help slow down the virus spread. They help to prevent your infection risk. Have you ever seen such a thing in your life as 3 simple tools?
Let's listen to Foci and hear what she has to say about these 3 simple tools. Back up, mask up, and wash up.
Back up, mask up, and wash up. Let's further explore these tools to help prevent our risk of getting infected with a virus. Here, I have a tissue, and in my pocket, I have a mask. I'm gonna try to blow this tissue with my mask off, and then I'm gonna blow the tissue with my mask on. Let's observe the differences. So first, I'm going to try to blow the tissue with my mask off. Are you ready? I'm going to use my mask to blow the tissue. What observations did you see in that experiment with the differences with my mask on versus off? Did you see how the tissue blew back and forth farther without my mask than with my mask on? What can you infer about how wearing masks can help prevent infection? A mask helps contain those large molecules that we spew out of our mouths when we sing, when we talk, when we cough, or when we sneeze. The more particles that our masks contain, the less they spread to other people. All right, so mask up we get, but back up. Let's try to do these experiments again, and this time we will change the distance. Okay, so here I have the tissue, and my hand is extended as far as it can. My arm's about 1 meter long. Are you ready? What observations did you see in that experiment? Similarly, the further you are from someone else's air particles, the less likely you are to be infected with those particles. All right, so now we have one more thing to cover in this segment, and that is wash up. How does washing our hands with soap and water help prevent infection? Let's take a look at our viruses again from segment 1. Remember how COVID-19 has an enveloped layer similar to this layer of butter around the aluminum foil? Watch what happens when this layer comes into contact with soapy water.
We're gonna let this sit for a couple minutes.
Take a look at this. The soapy water starts to break down this lipid layer. Remember? That's the butter. And it helps to break down the wall defenses of the virus. Viruses like COVID-19 are very susceptible to soapy water for this reason. So take an extra minute to wash your hands, your face, when you're in public and have a higher risk of interacting with that virus. Remember these 3 simple tools: back up, mask up, and wash up. 3 simple tools. 3 simple tools. 3 how they work. 3 how they work. They all help slow down the virus spread. They all help slow down the virus spread. They all help slow down the virus spread. Have you ever seen such a thing in your life? Have you ever seen such a thing in your life as 3 simple tools? 3 simple tools. 3 simple tools.
Oh, well, isn't that nice? No mucus on my set, not to mention disease preventing. Now we have come to the chapter where we are going to reimagine some stories that you may know well. We're going to give them a little twist. You know the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? Well, if Goldilocks arrived at the bear's house exhausted, what would happen? It's very similar to how some vaccines work in the body, and it relies on the body's adaptive immune system. Let's go to the storyteller now.
Have you ever had chicken pox? It's a rashy, itchy disease. If you haven't, it might be because you have been vaccinated. This version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears may help you to understand how a vaccine works. Let's read. Chickenpox and the Three Snares. Once upon a time, there were 3 tiny parts of the adaptive immune system who lived together in a host of their own, ready and waiting to snare, which in this case means to trap any attackers. There was a T cell who ruled the roost and watched out for any foreign invaders. There was a B cell who took instructions from a T cell whenever a threat was detected. And there was a little baby antibody who was sent out by B cell to attach to and neutralize any unwanted guests. Surprising, I know. One day, a very tired, weakened virus named chickenpox entered into the host and sat down at the table to eat. Even though T cell, B cell, and the little antibody baby had never seen this chickenpox virus before, they were easily able to notice her because she was moving so slowly and not really eating much. So the T cell told the B cell, replicate and release wee little antibodies and 1 million copies of itself. Once again, since chickenpox was basically just sleeping at the table and unable to spread throughout the host, she was easily neutralized and broken down. To celebrate, they took some leftover bits of chickenpox virus and hung them on the wall in frames. Kind of gross, huh? This way, if a full-strength chickenpox virus ever came around, they would immediately recognize it and be able to avoid infection or serious disease. Now let's return to Mr. Frank, who can help explain the science behind how this type of vaccine works.
Thank you. What a wonderful story. Does that make sense? To create vaccines, scientists will often use weakened cells of a virus. It may sound dangerous to put weakened viruses into the human body. However, it's like the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears if Goldilocks was sleepy. The adaptive immune system of the human body is trained to look out for pathogens or invaders that it already knows, but it also will attack anything that it thinks may not belong. When this happens, it's much easier for the immune system to deal with it when it's weakened. Once the unwanted organisms are neutralized and broken down, the immune response cells will keep pieces of it and wear it on their surface. Sounds crazy, right? But this process helps the immune system to better recognize harmful pathogens if they come around again in full strength. This is called immunity.
You've heard about herd immunity, right? Well, today I'm here to explain it using fire. And imagine this match is one person that gets COVID-19. As you can see, it burns through that community very quickly. So now we've replaced 20% of the community with healthy people again. They can transmit it to another healthy individual, but not these ones because they have immunity from a vaccine or a virus. Let's see what happens. As you can see, it only spread to these 3 people who were in close contact to one another. But all of these other individuals have immunity, and their immunity prevented other people in that community from contracting the virus or getting burned. That's how herd immunity works. The herd.
Now, you can also get immunity to a virus or other pathogens by actually getting infected. But sometimes the full-strength virus can be uncomfortable, dangerous, or even life-threatening. So scientists have developed vaccines to help people fight viruses and develop immunity in a safe way. But wait, there's a new vaccine in town. You may have heard that scientists have developed a vaccine for COVID-19 that does not use the actual virus. It's called an mRNA vaccine or memory RNA vaccine. And of course, we have a story that might help you understand how it works. Let's reimagine the story of Little Red Riding Hood. In this case, the wolf is like a virus, and Red, she's the immune response. In the original telling, Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother were eaten up by the wolf, but then rescued by the woodsman. Then the next time they encountered the wolf, they knew better. This is much like getting a virus and developing immunity, like we just discussed. But what would help her recognize the threat to avoid the danger altogether? Let's listen in. Storyteller?
And now for the story of the little white blood cell and the... Wait, isn't it red like Little Red Riding Hood?
No, white. White blood cells, also called leukocytes. They're the cells of the immune system that are involved in protecting the body against both infectious disease and foreign invaders.
Got it. The story of the little white blood cell and the memory RNA experience. Once upon a time, little white blood cell was about to take her daily journey throughout the body when she was suddenly presented with some special instructions. These instructions were the genetic sequence associated with SARS-CoV-2. The instructions came in the form of mRNA protein. She took these proteins with her and wore them on her surface so that she could spot her prey, SARS-CoV-2. She was traveling happily along, humming to herself, when suddenly, right in the middle of the bloodstream, she spotted a spiky organism that she immediately recognized as the virus presented to her in the mRNA protein. "What big spikes you have," remarked little white blood cell. "The better to attach to other cells of your body, my dear," bragged virus. "What an enveloped surface you have," exclaimed little white blood cell. "The better to avoid your immune system, my dear," smirked the virus. "What talented furin activation sites you have," pointed out little white blood cell. "The better to attack multiple organs of your body, my dear." "Well," smiled little white blood cell knowingly, "I already identified you as a virus that we don't want in this body." "Wait, how? Why?" gasped the exasperated virus. "I just received an mRNA vaccine," explained little white blood cell, "and it has the instructions I needed to identify you and activate my adaptive immune response. Antibodies, get 'em!" "No!" groaned the virus. And that was the end of SARS-CoV-2 in that host. All because of the mRNA vaccine that told little white blood cell what to look out for.
Well, it looks like our show, Science Gone Viral, has come to a close. But wait! There's still more! Those of you joining us during our premiere should come to our Zoom meeting happening right now. Look for the link below in the description. Click it to join us so you can interact, ask questions, and learn more. Also, in our description below, you can find a link to our lab notes, where you can continue to explore and challenge yourself with concepts from this month's show, At Home. We'll be taking a break for summer, but we'll be back for more Science Saturdays come September. Follow us on our social media sites, including Facebook and Instagram, to stay connected and hear of our upcoming shows. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel! Do that now and click on the bell to be reminded of our upcoming events. We would like to thank our following partners for volunteering to sponsor our show: the Department of Defense, DoD STEM, DSEC or Defense STEM Education Consortium, and the Dayton Regional STEM Center. Okay, everybody, click on that link in the description below and join us on our Zoom. We hope you enjoyed our show, Science Gone Viral, on Science Saturdays.
Science Saturday, why it's a lovely day to try some science and say, why does it happen that way? Ask some questions. questions, get some answers, see some science, hear some laughter. You might even find yourself thinking and learning and laughing. Oh, Science Saturday, why it's a lovely day to try some science and say, why does it happen that way? Why does it happen that way? Why does it happen that way? What are we studying for science today?